This is an integer addition war game with 3 cards per person. We're going to remove the jacks and kings from a regular deck of cards, and the queens are going to represent 0. Because we're looking at integers, we have positive and negative whole numbers. So I've chosen the black to be negative and the red to be positive. You can change that if you would like. We're going to use these game boards here to put our cards on so we remind ourselves that we're working on addition here. They have other operations on them. Take the cards and divvy them up equally amongst the 2 players or 3 players, however many players you have. Doesn't work very well with a lot of players, but we'll split up our cards equally here. And now this is a 3-card war, so we're each going to use 3 cards in every hand. And we're going to take our first 2 cards and put them face up, and our third one will stay face down. I have a hard time remembering to leave my third one face down, so you may also want to just put 3 cards face down and turn these 2 up. So now, the black cards are negative, so I'm at -8, and I'm adding on 0. So my outcome is going to be -8. How about yours?
And I have a +9 plus -2. So
Take a guess. 7. Okay, let's check it. If we are adding on a negative value, you can think of it as like adding on debt or some other way of thinking about it. But if we add on a negative value, we're going down. And we started at +9. So we're going down 2 units from 9. We end up at 7. You got it. And I have -8 plus 0, so I have -8. Now to win, you can choose however you want the criteria to be, but for our purposes, we're going to do the person who's furthest away from 0. That person wins. So right now, I'm in a winning situation because I have -8, and my opponent has 7. So I'm a little bit further away from 0 than she is. But at this point in time now, we can trade one of those 2 cards for this 3rd card if we think it will help us. We need to decide if we're going to trade or not before we actually do. So I'm going to swap my cards. What are you going to do?
I can change them, I think.
Okay, like that. Uh-oh, let's see what happens here. I think I'm in a bad position now. -8 plus +10. So I'm going up 10, and I start at -8. So I end up at 2. I'm in a much worse situation. Probably should have just stayed. Anyways, let's see what happens. So where are you at?
So I have +9 plus +2. So
Take a guess. You're at 9. You're going up 2.
11.
You got it.
Positive.
So you won that round, and you get all 6 cards. The person who wins gets the cards. You can also play where they just keep their cards and they would get points for every win. And 3 more cards. Turn the 2 up here on your grid. Now I have +10 plus +5. So that leaves me with 15.
And I have -1 plus -9. That's gonna leave me with -10.
Cool. So you're at -10. I'm at 15. I've got a pretty big distance away from 0. So I think I'm going to stay. What are you going to do?
I think I'm going to switch.
risky, isn't it?
Now I have -12.
Nice. Good job. But I still have 15, so I'm further away from 0 than you are, and I win. Yeah. And I think I get that one there too. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to let you put your cards up first so I can hopefully rig mine a little bit.
+6.
You need one more card over here too, just as a reminder, yeah.
So I have +6 plus -8. So
We forget about this for a minute. What direction are you going if you're adding on a negative value?
going down.
Going down. And you're going down 8 units from +6.
Is it -2?
-2, yeah. So if you're going to go down 8 from 6, you have to go down 6 units just to get to 0. And then 2 more units to bring you to -2. So you're at -2. What do I have here? I have -9 plus 7. So if I'm starting at -9 and I'm going up 7, I have -2 as well. I was going to rig this, but I didn't have to. We ended up with a tie anyways. So in the event of but we could still switch, couldn't we? Let's pretend we have already had a chance to switch and that this is where we landed. Okay, now we're going to have a war because we have the same value. So we're going to put 3 cards face down and then have 3 more cards to work with here.
I'm just gonna flip those over.
Yeah, so you've got your 1, 2, 3 cards and you've got 2 flipped over. So I have 4 plus -5. So I'm adding -5, I'm going down 5 from 4. That puts me at -1. How about you?
And I have -2.
Okay, so right now you're winning, but I want to win. So I'm going to switch these 2 cards here and see what happens. Ooh, I got lucky. I forgot to ask if you're going to stay or not. Can't peek at mine.
I can stay.
You're going to stay?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I have 4 plus 8, which is 12. And my distance from 0 is further than yours is. So I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And then I get all the cards.
All of them.
A lot of cards when there's a war in this 3-card game. And we would then play a game. When we run out of cards here, we would take the cards we have previously won and use them until one player completely runs out of cards.